Hey, how's it going everyone? This is DCSG81 and today we are going to take a look at this very interesting, the latest Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Marvel's Rocket. Okay, so the first thing that I take a look at this box is I noticed how badass the gun is. Wow, this is really a very huge, humongous gun that looks pretty cool on this little guy here. You can see the gun itself, I think, is even as tall as him or maybe even taller than him. And like always, I like how they actually put the actual rocket there. And this side of the box, we can see a clearer view of the rocket, and I also do hope that they actually give a folded arms for him as well, which I don't think so. And yes, for the build of figure, this rocket actually comes with the entire body, including the heads for this Cosmo the dog. And I kind of missed this part at the top of the box for my previous review, that we can see a very nice Guardians logo, which is the one that we see at the front of their uniform. And at the back of the box, you can see the rocket with the big guns, as well as the big build of figures for Cosmo the dog. So let's get him out. Okay, so this is Rocket right out of the packaging, and the very moment that I took him out, wow, this guy is solid. Even though it is very tiny, but this is a very solid figure, because you can see the amount of details that they put in is as detailed as those big guys that we have reviewed so far. And yeah, they can even do such a great details on this little guy. Of course, the joints will be very much smaller, and the best thing I think is even the belt itself, you can see it is still a separate piece on its own. Wow, this is rather good. And the tail is something that I like, because it does have some sort of, oh okay, it does comes out, but they do have a little articulations. As you can see, there's a small joint there. You can of course connect it back. And let's take a look at his face. Wow, this is a really good looking rocket with the teeth, grinning teeth, or is he smiling there? Yeah, this is very nice. So even with this size of the figure, I think they do give a lot of details to him, so it does look pretty good for an overall figure. And next we'll move on to the articulation. I'll start with the head as always, so he can look to the right, looks to the left, looking up just very slightly, looking down not even going to happen. And at some point I do think that he can actually open his mouth, but no, there's no articulations right over here. So you can turn his arm 360 degrees, moving up his arm, wow, more than 90 degrees. There is no arm swivel for this small guy, single joint elbow. And for his hand, you can actually turn it around, moving up and down, but it's very tiny, so you can see that there are joints for you to move up and down, but it's not very movable because of the small size. Only a single point of articulations here, so you can turn his torso around, and let's see how well he can bend forward just slightly, bending backwards, yeah, slightly as well. There is still a tight swivels, single joint knee, and you can turn his legs side to side, going up and down. So let's see how well this guy can do a forward kick. Wow, about 90 degrees or even more. Kicking backward, yeah, not too bad. Let's try to do a split for him. Yeah, pretty good. And as I shown earlier, the tail does have some articulation. You can actually move it upwards as well, and you can also turn it around if you want to. So yes, although this guy is little, but he does pack with a very good articulations, I would say. And now we'll move on to the accessory, and this guy just came with the big gun that we have seen in the pictures earlier, and voila. Whew, it does looks pretty good, but there's a slight disappointment here, because one is just painted all black, there is no other paints there, and secondly, I feel that this portion is a little flimsy. Yeah, looks like some cheap rubber there, but it just looks pretty good with all the details. I just hope that they've given it a lot more different paints, so it actually brings out the beauty of it. And as I said earlier, yeah, this gun is as tall as this rocket itself, and this is how he looks like holding up to the gun. Wow, pretty good. Other than this one, of course, it just comes with the build of figure, which is actually the entire Cosmo the dog body plus the head. Wow, so this is how huge it is. Probably bigger than this guy here. Wow, so let's take a look. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. And wow, the head does looks very nice, like a real dog there. Yeah, and there's some articulations as well. This is surprisingly is actually better than I thought. So yes, in terms of the accessory, I think this guy is pretty lacking just one very huge gun, which is looking pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but I was just hoping they could give maybe another interchangeable heads. And to be completely honest, it's kind of hard to actually let him hold on to this gun here because of the small hands, but once you get it on, you can see it looks pretty cool. Hiya! Do click on the likes button if you enjoy this review. Now let's start on some size comparison with some Marvel Legends. So I will begin with Star-Lord, of course, with the same wave. Okay, then we do have Nebula as well. It looks very nice in the same uniform. And next we do have Kraglin here as well, which is also from the same wave. And we also have this Teen Groot. And next, let's move on to some SH figures. I have the Captain America from the Endgame here, as well as this Tony Stark, which is also from the SH figures. And as for Mayfax, I do have Mark 85 right over here, and also this Thor from the Endgame. And next, I would also like to compare with these two special guests, which is the Marvel Legends Spider-Ham, as well as this Mayfax John Wick's dog. And lastly, how could I miss comparing with this Rocket from the SH figures? I think this is the first time I see the Marvel Legends is actually tiny bit shorter than the SH figures. And next, I'll talk about the likeness of this guy. Even though he's not a real person, he's just a CGI, but I do think that the likeness is quite important because as you can see in these comparison pictures from Isaac Wong, it does looks better and better with each releases, and this new one here does looks very much like Rocket himself. And let's compare with the SH figures Rocket that I have. You can see that wow, the likeness isn't too far off. Of course, the SH figures one does looks a little bit better, but the Marvel Legends one is not too far off. Okay, so it does looks pretty good as well. Okay, so my final verdict based on all the star ratings so far is going to be a 7 out of 10. Yes, aesthetically, I think it looks pretty good in overall. As for the articulation as well as the poses, I do think that he is a little bit stiff. And as for the accessory, of course, he is very lacking as well. In terms of the lightness, I do think that Marvel Legends has greatly improved the lightness of this Rocket. If you are still missing a Rocket in your collection, I do think that this is a very good one for you to pick it up. And if you are interested in picking up this Rocket, do feel free to check out the official Hasbro link down in this video descriptions. So I do hope that you enjoy this review, and most importantly is you have fun watching this, and I'll catch you again in my next video. Now I hope you'll watch this video right over here.